down horizontal, still turned up nice for you, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go. I have it recording right now.
Awesome. So go ahead, look at that camera, and give me that same great introduction that you gave me before. How many years of experience you have, and just kind of brag on yourself a little bit.
Well, I'll try. I hate bragging on myself, but, who could do it better than me? I'm Dan Dodson, and I own a company called American Auctioneers, and I'm also the featured auctioneer on a #1 hit reality show and an auction show, and actually I inspired all the auction shows. At least that's what Tom Beers told me. I've been an auctioneer for 39 years. I'm a third-generation auctioneer. I learned how to do it in 1974 from my grandfather. We used to do a lot of farm sales and cattle and stuff, and I started my company in 1983, and we have done hundreds of thousands of auctions. We had an auction house for 10 or 12 years, and we specialize in pottery, glass, porcelain. We sold a lot of tools. We sold a lot of collectibles and dolls and coins and jewelry and a lot of different things. So I have really got my pulse on the market, and it's certainly changed the last 25 or 30 years quite a bit. On the weekends, we do a lot of business liquidations and moving and storage sales and liquidations and different things where we really have a great idea of what things are bringing now in comparison to what they used to bring 15, 20, 25 years ago, and it's amazing how that works. There are a lot of items that, were worth a lot more money 25 years ago than what they are now. So, and then there's fad-type collectibles that, there's a time to, buy and sell and make money on those items, but that not all items are created equal, so you certainly can't just hold on to something for 50 years and think, hey, this is going to be worth something, because it might be worth something and it might not be worth anything. And so anyway, that's it.
Tell me a little bit about, kind of give me a hit list, if you will, of some of the most awesome, amazing things that have come across your desk for appraisal.
We do a lot of appraisals for banks and brokers and stuff. We've had a lot of different things come through. Paper goods, like President Grant signed land grant deeds and Polk, and I'm kind of interested in that kind of stuff. So is my wife. Actually, that's one thing we have in common. But we've appraised anything from jewelry and coins to antique tools and collectible pottery, porcelain, dolls. Just about anything you can imagine has come by our desk. I'm not saying I'm the very best appraiser with everything in the world, because I don't think there's anybody that's like that. I mean, I'm more of a general type collectible auctioneer. Specialties might be like weapons. I like swords, weapons, daggers, that kind of stuff. I collect that kind of thing. So I've just kind of taken an interest in a few things that I know a lot about, and then I just know a little bit about everything. What I probably have the best thing going for me is that I have a good eye for quality. I can see something and I know damn well if that's a good quality high dollar piece or if that's just a piece of junk, something that's not made well, or it's a reproduction, or I have a good eye for that kind of thing. I can look at stuff a lot of times and tell you, yes, this is a nice piece, we need to do a little bit more research on this, or I have seen a million of these and you might think they're worth money, but they're not. They're just stuff. And
what are some kind of novice mistakes that collectors make, where they overpay for something or think something is worth a lot more than it is?
Yeah, a lot of times with artwork, they might think they're buying a piece of original art when if they were to take a magnifying glass and put on it, they would see that it was made up of dots, and dots equal lithograph, and the majority of those, they're probably not worth a lot unless they are a limited edition, very rare lithograph, and there's plenty of things out there that are worth money. That's one common thing that a lot of people will make a mistake on. Also, they'll think things are old when they're not. Our culture, this world has become very proficient at making brand new things look like old things, and so you need to take the time to look at enough items to where you can absolutely get a feel like this is a reproduction gun, or this is a reproduction weapon, or this is not an original piece of artwork. There's just a lot of things just by doing this on a day-to-day business that you will learn as you go along. Those are a few things.
And what tips would you give a newbie collector who maybe it's brand new, but somebody who's serious about kind of like really establishing a significant collection? What tips would you give them? What to look out for? How do they not get swindled out there?
Yeah, the provenance on items are very important. If you buy something out of the back of somebody's truck and and they say that it's one thing, then it may be that one thing and it may not be that one thing. If you are buying from a reputable dealer that has a provenance, then, chances are good that you have not been screwed out of your money, and you will, you'll do fine on that. I would suggest if people are going to collect things, they kind of go back into history and they kind of look at things that have consistently held their value or made value. And really good items are always going to be worth really good money. And things that, like we mentioned earlier, are like a fad collectible, then, that has a timeline when it's going to bring money and when it's going to be past that. Like the Furbies or Beanie Babies or, Jonathan David figurines or, things like that. Even Yadro figurines, 25 years ago, we used to get a lot more money than what we do now for them. So, you would think if something's high value and it's breakable and I try not to break it for 50 years, it's going to be worth all the money. And that might be the case with some things, but it's certainly not the case with all things. I would... Okay.
And, sorry, you brought that for a second. I think I know everything. And my next question is about, for the purposes of this show, we're going to have kind of duos, teams, going out and try to find the best stuff, and then maybe bring in experts like yourself to come in and appraise those items and let us know what's valuable and what's not. If people ask you for your opinion all the time, and then you tell them something they don't want to hear, they're like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
It happens. It happens. I mean, people do not want to hear the bad news. They just want to hear the good news. And, they could probably take that item and, if I don't think that it's worth anything, I might say something, you might want to put this in your grandchild's retirement account, and maybe, they can give it to their grandchildren, and still it might not be worth more than the $5 that it's worth now. And I just apologize to them and say, I've made that same mistake, or I know other people that have made that mistake, and the reason that you made the mistake is because you thought it was this when it wasn't. It was actually like this. So, you just have to, I'm pretty straight out and blunt with people. I don't candy coat a lot of things, and, it's just what it is. They either have something that's great or they have something that's not great. They could have an item that's not great, but if they buy it right and they can make money on it, that seems like a winner to me, and there's always the right butt for the right saddle. There's always somebody out there that's going to want something. And, I walked into a little thrift store one time and they had a reproduction Coca-Cola. It was like an arcade metal toy, and they had a $350 price tag on it, and I knew that was a $16 wholesale thing, and I said, that's a reproduction right there, and they said, oh, we know that is, and the last one we had up there, we got $350 for it too. So you just never know. I mean, if you represent something as something, then it needs to be accurate. But I suppose if you just put something out there and you put a price on it and somebody thinks, again, that it's old when it's not, then I guess they'll never make that mistake again. I have things in my cabinet that I bought that are worthless, but I paid, I was 25 years old, say, I gave up my whole paycheck and I bought this piece of ivory that should have been, the ivory bone off of a pallet bone of a right well, and it wasn't. It was plastic. But the scrimshaw work is original on it. So, I paid, I don't know, $375 for that 30 years ago. And so I kept it because it reminds me that, not everybody knows everything and we're learning every day. So I learn every single day, and I'm not too proud to learn something new, and I'm not so egotistical to think that I know everything. But if I have a gut feeling or personal knowledge on something, I'll just tell you, look, I've done that before, and you can believe me or not believe me, but this particular piece is not worth what you think that it is. This is what it's worth, and maybe you paid too much for it. And so, if you enjoy it, hang it on your wall. If you want to remind yourself of mistakes from the past, then definitely hang it on your wall. And that's my advice to folks. Just own it and go on, because we all make mistakes. Anybody that's buying and selling, if they tell you, oh, I make money every time, then they're probably lying, because we don't all make money every time, and we make mistakes. So,
Let's talk about the different kinds of characters that show up at these places: flea markets, auctions, estate sales. I've been talking to lots of them, and it's an odd bunch. You got the little ladies, you got kind of young guys, old men. It just kind of runs the gamut. Talk to me about the emotions and the competitiveness that happen at these auctions and estate sales for people waiting in line for hours. They want to get the best stuff. They're all looking for the most valuable stuff. Kind of paint a picture for me of the emotions and competitive scene at some of these places that you've seen over the years.
Well, you might have some rare figurines coming up, and there might be a couple that, a man and a woman, and maybe they're middle aged, and they collect these things, and they know what they're worth, and but there might be five of them there, and there might be one of them that they really need for their collection, and there might be two or three they already have in their collection, so there might be one piece that they want. But let's say, as an auctioneer or an appraiser, that all five of those items are worth about the same. As an auctioneer, we have to use the psychology of getting people together. So we have this middle-aged couple, then they're wanting one out of five pieces, and they don't mind paying a premium for the right piece. Then you have another cat over here, and he knows what they're worth, he knows what he can get for them, and he just kind of wants to double his money. Well, when those items come up, instead of just putting one piece up, if I pick the wrong piece, then the middle-aged couple that's collecting, that's willing to pay, say, $200 for one, if I pick up the wrong piece, they're not going to bid at all. Then the person that is trying to pick them all up, he will probably get them for less than what he should. Maybe if it's a $200 retail, maybe he's willing to go, $75. He'd like to get them for 50, but he might pay 100 and a quarter so he can get a couple $100 out of them. Well, if I do them high bidder's choice, that's the way I would do it as an auctioneer. I would say, okay, I've got five of these, high bidder's choice. Here we're going, how much money? If you're the high bidder, you can take one, or you can take all five of them. If it's one, it'll be one times your bid. If it's five, it'll be five times your bid. And if you want to take two or three, go ahead. So then we would go humana. We go ahead and sell it. And let's say the high bidder is the middle-aged couple because they're trying to get high bidder's choice. And let's say they pay $200 for the one that they want. Well, we just sort of established a price for the other four. Even though this middle-aged couple, they're not going to bid on it again, but I've got one cat out there, and I've got just a millisecond to go back to, him or any other bidder that's out there and say, okay, you're the back bidder on these. Would you like any of them at the same money, same price, same thing? Well, what I might do at that point, if I know I just have one person that's going to pick up those other four, I might just go and say, hey, I've got four of these, four times the money. Would you give me $100 a piece? You know what? Give me $50 a piece. That'll be $200. I'll get to own them all if nobody else bids anymore. And that's some of the psychological, warfare that we have as auctioneers with the people out there. People don't like to lose face. Different cultures don't like to lose face. You can take, Koreans. I have a lot of Korean buyers, but they don't like to lose. And I've got Korean buyers that have plenty of money in their pocket, and it's more than losing an item. It's almost like losing face. And if you take that same psychological thought, nobody really wants to lose. So as an auctioneer, I might refer to people as winners when they successfully bid on something, because they are, in my mind, a winner. And that puts it in everybody else's mind that that auctioneer just sold it to him, and that guy is a winner. And, I think it's interesting to watch how some people will sometimes, they won't look at me. They'll look at the other buyer like they're trying to intimidate him. Well, that's, if you put yourself in their shoes, if somebody's just kind of dogging me down, I might bid again just for the heck of it, just because maybe I don't give a damn on that particular item, but they do. They obviously care. They're trying to dead-eye me with daggers in their eyes, and so it's kind of interesting to see how it works. I've seen little women that seem like perfectly classy little gals, and I've seen them just cuss like sailors when they don't get something, and that's funny. It's funny when we're selling, like moving and storage, where we're selling sealed boxes, because you never know what's in those boxes. You can go by what's written on them, but you really don't know what's in them. So that brings a whole new dimension to the thing, and so I get a kick out of people. I get a kick out of watching people and interacting with them and playing off them, and because everything that goes through my head seems a little twisted anyway, so it's pretty easy for that to happen and come out of my mouth.
Awesome. That's great. And one last question for you, should be a really easy one, is why do you love your job? Why have you done it for so long? Just talk to me about the passion for the work.
Like I said, I'm a third-generation auctioneer. When I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, till about 16 years old, I used to go back to Arkansas. I would spend every summer with my grandpa. In 74, I spent all summer and half a winter, half a school year, and I did that when I was 11 and 12. So when I was 11 years old, I looked at my grandfather, and I said, Grandpa, I want to be like you. I want to learn how to do this. And 3 weeks later, I heard my name on the radio as an auctioneer. I saw my name in print as an auctioneer right next to my grandfather, which was a great auctioneer, and I have just never looked back. I have enjoyed this business immensely for 39 years, and it's just brought everything into my life. I've met my wife at auctions. I've got a nice life. I have a great business. I am the ringleader of auctions, at least in my world. And I've got about 15 auctioneers that work underneath me. We do about 50 auctions a week. It's just a wonderful business, and it's not the same. Every day it changes, and that's one reason that I just really like this industry and this business. It keeps my attention, and it's brought a lot of good opportunities. I'm really humble. I have 2 Harleys, 2 Maseratis, and 2 Escalades, and I think that's humble, right?
I don't know. I don't even know what those are. Cool. All right, give me your name one more time. Just please give me your name and the auction house that you run one more time.
I am Dan Dodson, and I own American Auctioneers. We are America's #1 auction team. Trademark.